My brothers and sisters, I want to talk with you about the Passover, the institution of the Passover. It's one of the most important events in the entire Old Testament. And so I'm going to give you a little context that 10 plagues came upon the Egyptians. God was telling the Pharaoh, let my people go, let my people go, let my son go so that he may serve me. And the Pharaoh refused. The final plague was the death of the firstborn. And once again, God wanted to spare his people this chastisement. And so he told them to celebrate the Passover. He told them to take a one-year-old lamb without any blemish and to sacrifice that lamb, to roast it, to eat it with bitter herbs, and to put the blood of that lamb on the top of the door and on the two sides of the doorpost as a sign, so that when the angel of death passed over the land to strike down the firstborn, they would be spared because the blood of an unblemished lamb marked their homes where they were. So let's go to look at a couple verses in Exodus chapter 12, which talks about the Passover. I want to invite you to read the whole chapter when you have time. We're just going to look at verses 11 through 13 in chapter 12 of Exodus. In this manner you shall eat it, your loins girded and your sandals on your feet and your staff in your hand, and you shall eat it in haste. It is the Lord's Passover. For I will pass through the land of Egypt that night, and I will smite all the firstborn in the land of Egypt, both man and beast. And on all the gods of Egypt I will execute judgment. I am the Lord. The blood shall be a sign for you upon the houses where you are. And when you see the blood, I will pass over you, and no plague shall fall upon you to destroy you when I smite the land of Egypt. Do you see what God is saying? He's saying, I'm going to protect you through this amazing action. When the blood of an unblemished lamb is on your house. And the Israelites were commanded to eat this meal. Now, this is extremely important if you want to understand the Last Supper and also Jesus' sacrificial death on Calvary. Why? Because at the Last Supper, when Jesus was celebrating the Passover, instead of picking up the lamb, he took bread and he said, this is my body. And then he took the cup, it would have been the third cup, and he said, this is the blood of the new and eternal covenant. And he instituted the Eucharist that we celebrate every time we come to Mass in place of the Passover meal while they were eating the Passover meal. And then he went to the cross and he gave his life for us. Jesus is the true Passover lamb. The Passover that the Israelites celebrated when they left Egypt was preparing the way for Christ to come into this world, to give us the gift of the Eucharist and to offer his life for our salvation on Calvary. Every time that we go to Mass and we celebrate the Mass, we must recognize that Jesus is the true Passover lamb, the Lamb of God who takes away the sins of the world. And we can look back thousands of years or hundreds of years earlier to the Passover that the Israelites celebrated for the first time and see how the Father was preparing the way for his Son to come into this world, not as a king on a throne, but as a humble servant, to give his life for our salvation, to become like a lamb going to the slaughter so that we could receive his salvation.